Sunday Kickoff with Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle. The show that's all Patriots, all football, all year long. The clutch wins, the tough losses, and the game-changing plays. This is the show that has it all covered. Sunday Kickoff, brought to you in part by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. Now, here are Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle.
All right, here we are, Week 18 on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff, January 4th. A happy new year to you and yours. And as the new year begins, the football season, the regular season comes to an end. 18 weeks, or 17 weeks in the book. One more to go. And for us, Cerrone, not pivoting to the offseason quite yet. We still have playoff football coming up, but putting a bow on the 2025 regular season today is Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle. George Sepulveda filling in behind the glass today. Cerrone, good morning. Happy New Year's and happy Week 18.
Good morning to you, man. I mean, it's a totally different field than the last couple of years. The last game of the season, the last week of the season. Not much draft talk going on today, and coaching positions and who's keeping their jobs and who's getting fired. That was a huge story the last few years, but things are definitely trending up. And I'll look forward to another week of this going forward.
So this will be a unique one. We'll talk a little bit about Patriots, Dolphins, but obviously do want to kind of get into it's more of a big picture day, the end of the regular season, and looking ahead at what lies ahead, because although it's Week 18, not much is settled in the AFC. Well, I shouldn't say not much. We basically know who's in. Six of the 7 spots are already locked in. The 8th one is not, or the 7th one is not decided yet, but it doesn't impact the Patriots, at least not immediately. And that is the AFC North, and that team is going to be the 4 seed, so the Patriots wouldn't run into them, if I can talk right now, for a little bit. But we'll kind of get to all of it. I do just want to touch on the week that was before we get to Week 18 as well. But let's just go back to the start of the season. Like I said in the open, we're 18 weeks into this thing now, and we started at the beginning of the year talking about, well, if, we thought this game might be winning in, is kind of how we talked about it, right? Well, if you can get this game to be winning in, they're in great shape, and they do still have stakes today, but obviously not nearly that. Go back to Week 1. Like, if I told you, all right, they're going to be playing in Week 18, they're in, the division's locked up, they just need to beat Miami to get a top 2 seed, the 1 seed still on the table, what would your reaction have been, and what would you have said would need to happen for them to get there?
Oh, man, the first thing I would have said was the defense was lights out. The first thing I would have thought, if you'd have said this situation back in August, September, I would have said it's because the defense was lights out, and Gonzalez and Carlton Davis were shut down, and Milton Williams, and the offense did just enough to match the defense. But I would have put all the credit on the defense. There's no way in the world I would have thought this team was capable of dropping 30 on everybody they play. But I absolutely would have thought it would have been the defense.
This is, by the way, of all the playoff teams in the AFC, no team scores more points than the New England Patriots heading into Week 18. Patriots are averaging, and by the way, here's that number, 28.3 points per game. A little magic number for Patriots. It's like the Fibonacci sequence of the football world. 4 NFC teams ahead of them, but they're 5th. They're less than a point ahead of the Buffalo Bills, and then the Jaguars are kind of a step below them. So it has been the offense. It has been the offense that's carried them, especially here the last few weeks. Now, we'll see. Maybe they can get back. Remember, they were a good defense at one point. They were an elite run defense at one point, which is kind of crazy to think about. Milton Williams is expected to be back today. He's active, so we'll see how much he plays, but he's back. Still no Robert Spillane, but they're getting healthier there. That will definitely be something to watch in this game today. But now here we are, right? So, okay, it's not that light expectation from the start of the year. Hey, like they should be fighting for a playoff spot come the last week of the season. As we sit here today, as you readjust your expectations, we had said a failure of a season, I think, would have been like 5 wins, 6 wins. Would have been a failure of a season, is what we said at the beginning of the year. A successful season would have been making the playoffs, which they've long done at this point. We've known they're going to be in. How do you reset those expectations here heading into Week 18?
Oh, man, I think it's going to vary. If you ask 10 people, you probably get 10 different answers. But I think now for me, I would think anything short of at least playing in the AFC Championship would be kind of disappointing. I mean, it'd be because I think this team can go far, but it'd be disappointing if they lie. I can't believe I'm saying this about a Patriots team after last year. Right. If they lose, if they at least get to the AFC Championship, I think I'll be good. But looking across the AFC, man, I think they would be favorite against everybody they play. I think they can beat everybody in the AFC. They can lose to a couple teams, but undefeated on the road, which means you can go into hostile environments and win games. They've won some tough games lately with all the injuries piling up and showed some kind of grit, like especially in Baltimore, down big like that to a desperate Baltimore team, I think was something. You showed you can beat Buffalo. You play them a second time, you get a 21-0 lead, and I think that lead holds if Milton Williams and Robert Spillane are there, but I think this team can beat everybody in the AFC because I think they're the most balanced team. They can run the ball well, they're explosive on the ground, explosive in the air, and they're good enough defensively, I think, to beat anybody. So I think an AFC Championship, anything short of reaching the AFC Championship, I think could be disappointing.
They're definitely the most well-rounded team when healthy.
Yeah.
And that's a caveat that, again, we'll see how that goes. But when healthy, I do think they are the most well-rounded team in the AFC. You mentioned they'd be favored against everybody. Mike Kadlick tweeted this out last night, so I don't know if these have changed since this morning, but DraftKings actually does have odds for 2 potential Patriots playoff games. Okay. They are 3-point favorites against the Chargers. They are 1.5-point underdogs against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills matchup still worries me a little bit, but it's not. It's far from impossible for them to win. I think, if they get knocked off in a competitive divisional game against Buffalo or Houston, I don't know that. I'd be disappointed. I don't know that I'd call the season a failure at that point. To me, it's less about the round and more about who they beat or who they lose to.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good point.
So, losing to, let's say, like Pittsburgh makes it through the AFC Championship and they get there and they lose to Pittsburgh. I'm with you. I think if they get to the AFC Championship at that point, it's void. But again, like a tough loss to Houston in the divisional round, I could understand. They should win a playoff game. You're at home in the playoffs for the first time since 2019. That's the expectation for me at this point. Whoever they're playing wild card weekend, even if it's the Bills, I think you need to get at least one playoff win to show this thing is real, to show this thing is, and that's not to say that they're going to come back next year and win 6 games if they don't win a playoff game. Real means something different now.
Yeah.
When we were talking back in September and October, real meant, hey, they're going to be competitive every week, and we're not going to have to come in here on Sunday morning, Cerrone, and start every show with should they fire the coach or not. That's what real meant back in September. Real now means they are among the top teams in the AFC. Not just that they're good. We know they're good. I'm comfortable saying they're good. They're good, and I don't see, a 2022, 2023 style fall off after one good year.
Yeah.
Like they did. It doesn't mean they're going to be the 1 seed every year. It doesn't mean they're going to win 13 games next year, but they should still be in the mix. We've talked about this a lot, the changing landscape of the AFC, that top tier, that upper class of the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, sometimes the Bengals, sometimes the Texans, like that class is dead. Yeah. Well, a new group of teams is going to supplant those. And the Broncos might be one of them. I don't know who, there's going to be new teams that step in there.
Maybe Jacksonville.
Yeah, maybe Jacksonville figures it out. Maybe Buffalo gets their roster reset done quickly, and they're back up there. The Patriots should be in that class where they were for 20 years, where teams like the Chiefs have been for the last few years. Like, that's what winning a playoff game signals to me, is that thing, that element of it is real.
Yeah, it's very similar to last year's Commanders team. I forgot they made it as far as the conference championship, but that was a good stepping stone. From this year, injuries destroyed them from the beginning. But, I mean, they've shown that if their team is fully healthy, they can at least compete, and they're one of those teams that be battling in the NFC. But I think this team, I think they can at least get to a conference championship, and it depends on the opponent. I've always said, to me, I think the toughest matchup for them would be on the road at Denver. I think most would agree because of that environment, because of that defense. We get on the Patriots because of their schedule, but if you look at the quarterbacks Denver's faced, it's one of the worst you've seen in a long time. But that environment, that defensive player of the year out there on playing corner, a guy that can take away a Stephon Diggs or something like that in the pass rush that can get to any quarterback. So I mean, at Denver would be a tough one for me. But I think I'd be kind of disappointed losing to Josh Allen. I don't think I'd be that just because he's probably going to do something amazing and find a way to win the game. But anybody else, I think, will kind of hurt a little bit. I don't want to see Jacksonville come in here and win a game in January. Houston, as good as their defense is, their offense has been too up and down. I think you can match it well against them, especially again a dome Southern team coming up here in January. But losing Aaron Rodgers, Steelers, veteran team, veteran head coach, elite pass rusher when he's healthy, they have all the pieces. Metcalf will be back, so that could be a tough team to beat. They're used to playing in the same type of conditions, but I think you hit the nail on the head. It's who you lose to. Yeah. I think would determine how you feel about this season. Like, man, how after all that you lose to them? But I mean, it's going to be tough. But I think this team, again, I think they're just so balanced and so explosive. Then with everything on the line, with nothing to lose, no guarantees. A week later, there's no resting guys, there's no sitting guys, there's no holding on to certain plays, certain whatever concepts. You're throwing it all out there, and I think this team playing like that would be a really difficult team to put out.
617-779-0985 if you want to join us on this regular season finale. We'll be back next week, obviously, in a lot more weeks to come, but regular season finale of Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff, 617-779-0985. Let's get a little more into Patriots Dolphins. We'll do that next. Here it's Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle.
More Sunday Kickoff is on the way on the Sports Hub. Sunday Kickoff with Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on your station for the best football coverage. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Mike, as a coach and a coaching staff, in light of all of this, how do you keep your players focused on Miami and the matters at hand on the field? How do you do it? A special focus?
No different than we've done every single week. We come in on Wednesday. We try to learn the personnel, talk about the Dolphins that have 5-2 in their last 7 games, have turned the ball over, created 13 turnovers in those 5 wins. A running back that's first in the league in yards per carry and yards after contact and explosive runs, and some young defensive linemen that are really improving and playing well. That was our focus this morning, and trying to prepare for our opponent and put the game plan in, and we'll practice. But that's what we do every single Wednesday and Thursday and Friday.
That was Mike Vrabel this week. And what was a bit of a tumultuous week for the Patriots as they try to gear up here down the stretch. Obviously, the potential charges or Christian Barmore, Stephon Diggs facing charges for assault, serious charges. I talked about that quite a bit during the week. Cerrone, I was on. I'm sure you were as well. So we don't need to dig into that again. They're legal situations. They will play out as they play out, and we'll react in time as there's more news. We're not going to try to litigate it here on this radio show. But those are 2 key players for the Patriots who had this pop up, and was something that was talked about quite a bit at the facility this week. So from a football sense, how did you feel about Mike Vrabel's answer there, and just in general how they handled this week with all of that kind of looming?
I don't know how they handled it internally. I'm pretty sure it was more than discussed internally. Publicly, he just sounds like he's trying to keep it to football. He's trying to move on and on to the Dolphins, and we've kind of seen that before out of that building. And the key is, how do the players respond to it? If they're ready to move on, if it's not considered a distraction or something that especially Barmore and Diggs are, mentally kind of dealing with, their focus and how they approach this last game. Look, Stephon Diggs has some incentives to reach, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be focused to reach those incentives.
30-something yards for 1,000, and that comes with the bonus. That's the big one today.
Yeah, and I think he needs like 8 catches, and he gets another 500,000, something crazy like that.
There's some that are a little further out. Hunter Henry needs 10 catches. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so some of these guys are going to have some other things they're focused on, and guys are looking forward to closing out the season strong and maybe locking up the 1 seed if something were to happen or something crazy. But I think this team is trying to move forward. I think the coaching staff is trying to move this thing forward and let the stuff they can control, let them be able to control what they can control and keep it to football. I think this week, I wouldn't say it's a meaningless game, but I'm glad it's nothing that's really, really major, because then we'll be talking more about the focus and the mentality of the team and all that stuff. But I think this is a good game to get your mind off what's going on. There's still going to be something in the minds of Barmore and Diggs. It's a major situation for them. But I think the team will most likely rally around those guys, and they'll be a little more focused today. And I think they'll be focused until the league or whoever the next step of this pops up. And for Patriots fans, you're hoping that's after the season, but I think they're just trying to move on and be ready for the Dolphins and focus on football. And I think it's the biggest way to get away from it all, is just to play ball.
And you mentioned the next steps of it, just for people who haven't seen. We have this covered on 985thesportshub.com. The league released a statement earlier this week, and it's the last we've heard from them, and that was on Wednesday, that there has been no update on the status of Diggs or Barmore, and that the legal process is not far enough along at this point to involve the commissioner's exempt list. Obviously, those things can change, but that's the last we heard from the league. Stephon Diggs was at practice all week. Was limited Friday with the rest day. Barmore was not in the facility Wednesday with an illness, and then he returned to practice Thursday and Friday. You mentioned the stakes of this game, though. You're right. It's not the biggest game in Patriots history. It's not even the biggest game of the year. And it's kind of significant, though. It is kind of significant. I think there's a big difference. obviously the 1 seed comes with the bye. That's the gem. That's what you're holding out for. I know some people say, well, if you get the wild card, the matchups maybe line up easier. Not having to play a game is the best thing, right? Mm-hmm. You can have a team you think you can walk through in the first round. You still got to deal with risking injuries and putting things on tape. And you'd rather just not play. That's always the better option.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to the 2 and 3, and we'll know this before they kick off, if the Jaguars win, the Patriots need a win to stay in the 2. If the Jaguars lose, the Patriots are locked in to a top 2 seed. That doesn't impact the 1 seed one way or the other. And the Jaguars kick off at 1 o'clock. Obviously, the Patriots at 4 o'clock today, as are the Broncos. There's a big difference between that 2 and 3. Because if you're in the 2 seed, you're guaranteed, if you keep winning, 2 home playoff games, not 1, 2. And you're 1 upset away from hosting the AFC Championship game if you take care of business. And I know a lot of people, Patriots fans, are down on the Broncos and don't think they're legit. I'm not as low as some people, but they're not unbeatable. They're not some sort of wagon 1 seed. If it's Houston or Buffalo going there into the divisional round, which is very possible, it's incredibly likely, actually, that one of those 2 teams is going to go to Denver. Now, the Patriots may get the other, but if it's Houston or Buffalo going to Denver in the first round, they can knock the Broncos off. And now you're a win away. If you take care of business against the Chargers, you're a win away from hosting the AFC Championship game. Whereas if you're in the 3 seed, you now need to bank on a couple of upsets. You're going to have to go through on the road in the divisional round in order to get back to Gillette for an AFC Championship. It completely changes the picture. And I know the Patriots have been graded on the road this year. I understand that. I don't want to diminish that. It's still something you would rather not have to do.
Why risk it?
Right. That's something, they're good on the road. Great. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it kind of thing.
The only road game I want to see them play is in San Francisco.
That's right. That's exactly right. So I do think there's some stakes today. I don't think this is a game where you can do essentially what Buffalo did last year here. Drake May takes a ceremonial first snap to extend his game-started streak, runs to the sideline, crowd goes nuts, and then it's the Josh Dobbs show. It's not to say I wouldn't play Josh Dobbs at all in this game. I think if you get up, 24 points would probably be my number. 4-possession game, right? Or 3-possession game. If you get up that much, okay, now you can maybe take the starters out, a little bit of a shorter leash than usual, get some guys some rest. But there's stakes today. There's real stakes today. I'd like to see the 1 seed. I think the Broncos are going to beat the Chargers. That's one of the biggest spreads of the week. 13 points in that game with Trey Lance starting. And I think the Chargers are going to rest everybody. I'm not getting my hopes up for the number 1 seed. I do really think that the win to get the 2 seed matters, though.
Yeah, because I don't want to, if they have to play, say Jacksonville, they'll slide into that 2 seed. You absolutely want a team from Jacksonville in Foxborough in January, as opposed to you going flying all the way down to Florida. Right. I mean, they're a hot team. They're really believing in themselves right now. They're feeling themselves. And Jacoby Myers burnt you once already this season. You don't want to see him again. You talk about a chance for redemption. Jacoby Myers playing the Patriots in the playoffs. I mean, you don't want to see that. You want to see him light you up like that. But I want that team in Foxborough. I want all those teams to play in Foxborough. I mean, Buffalo is the one team, can handle playing here in those conditions. Josh Allen, because you know what he can do, what he's done in the past in the playoffs. Even though Josh Allen's dealing with a foot injury right now, which I think is probably worse than what they're making it out to be because he's been limping for 2 weeks, I still don't want to deal with him. And you don't want to go to Buffalo. You don't want to be on the road against none of these teams. Take care of business. You win your game. Get that 2 seed. At the very least, get the 2 seed and let things play out. I agree with you. I think Denver can lose to one of those better teams, but if they win, you got to be the team to be able to go on the road. You got as many wins as they have. You're just as good to me as the Denver Broncos. You can go on the road and you can win that game, and it'd be incredible for them to do that, an incredible accomplishment. But I think this team is capable of doing it. But you got to take care of business and get as many games in Foxborough as you can, because you do not want to be on the road against any of these teams with their different advantages that they can put on you in these type of situations and conditions. Get them games at home and take care of business.
617-779-0985. You want to join us on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff this morning. We'll start it off with Andrew and Wyndham on the calls. Andrew, good morning.
Hey, this is a little bit off the playoff topic, but
Okay.
Stephon Gilmore recently posted a video of himself back in a Patriots uniform. I wanted to know what the possibility would be of him coming back, not only as a Patriot, but what his impact would be on the Patriots as a whole if he was to join them for next season.
As a player?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for the call, Andrew. I'm not sure. They have
safety at this point.
right. If he wants to move to safety, maybe that helps. They have Gonzalez and Carlton Davis on the outside. Those guys are both outside corners. You're not moving those guys to the slot. Gilmore's an outside corner. You're not moving him to the slot. The reality is there's only two boundaries to play. I don't know that he's going to come back and be a depth guy. I think he's maybe just happy for the organization, right? And that's why he's doing that. You're seeing a lot of guys start to do this, by the way. Kind of come back to the organization a little bit now.
Yeah, Sante Samuel defending Drake May.
Right. So, look, I've always said I'd take him back. I would just love for him to have a season with Christian Gonzalez just as a mentor.
Yeah.
If he wants to come back and be the third corner, I wouldn't say no to that by any means. I'm not sure what the value is at this point for him, though. I'm not sure outside of obviously the paycheck. Like, I don't know how much he's going to play here.
Yeah, and one thing you're going to have to realize, too, by the time free agency opens up, it's going to be a lot of guys lining up to be Patriots this offseason. So Gilmore's going to have to get in line because I think they're a hot ticket right now. I think they're very attractive. They see the youth. They see the quarterback. They see the situation. There's somebody right now sitting on the couch or getting ready for their team they don't want to play for anymore, looking at the Patriots and saying, well, I can help put them over the top. So, I mean, it's going to be tough for guys like Gilmore to land a spot on a roster like this going forward. Also,
Gilmore's going to be 36 next season.
Yeah, he's safety or his assistant coach.
Fan of his, good player, but I think that time might be past. All right, I see you guys lining up on the phones. We're going to hit a break, give George a chance to screen him back there behind the glass. We'll come back with your calls and get more into this Patriots-Dolphins matchup, plus the big roster moves yesterday. Will Campbell, Milton Williams back. What do we expect from them today? All that and more coming up on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
More Sunday Kickoff coming up on the Sports Hub. Patriots football is hurt. never too early to talk football on Sunday.
Coming to the game on Sunday.
This is Sunday Kickoff with Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Was it the starters playing this week?
Of course. Anybody that's healthy. We're gonna do everything we can to win the football game. But if they're, come on.
So that was the directive for Mike Vrabel to start the week. Everybody who's healthy is playing. And the Patriots did rule out a couple of players for this game. So not everybody's going to go. Robert Spillane, Harold Landry, Kyrus Tonga, Jared Wilson, all out. Jack Westover, Charles Woods are questionable. So not going to play everybody. But it sounds like everybody else is good to go. That includes Milton Williams and Will Campbell, who were activated from IR yesterday. So those guys are back at it. What are you expecting to see from them? And how important, specifically to Milton Williams, we've talked a lot about the run game issues being personnel-based, and they're still not going to get Robert Spillane back. But how important is it not just to have Milton Williams back, but to see what he looks like and see if he can still be that impact player he was early in the year?
I think it's important to get him going. I think it's very important to get it's almost like a workout, get that workout in, get that, in practice, you can't really replicate the physicality and the speed and all that stuff of a real game time action. So it's good to get him out there and get the rust off this week as opposed to in the playoff game, the first quarter of a playoff game, because teams are going to attack him. They're going to see what he can do and they're going to go right at him. But if you get out there and you get that rust off this week against a Dolphins team that likes to run the football, I mean, I know they're going to be sitting guys, but it's good to get him out there and take that first hit and get back into the flow of the game and his reaction, get a feel into the game and be ready to go for whenever they do play their first playoff game. And I think it's real important for him to show that, I'm an impact player and I can make a difference on this team. The players know it, but I think it's good for him to get that workout in and get that feel of the game. I can see him playing a quarter, 2 quarters or so, and maybe half of football, and that's about it, and get him out of there.
Yeah, maybe they're both on snap counts, him and Campbell, but
yeah.
If Milton Williams didn't play today, by the time the Patriots, assuming they don't get the bye, and obviously with the bye it would be even longer.
Yeah.
But let's say he plays wild card weekends, his first snaps back. That's over 50 days since his last football game. For Will Campbell, it's over 40. That's a lot of time without hitting somebody. So, again, if they're on snap counts, I get that. I think to have those guys just get some contact, get some run, it will be a good thing today. How do you feel about the approach, playing everybody as a whole, and what's your kind of benchmark for, okay, let's get the starters out of there?
Oh, man, similar to last week. Last week was crazy the way they were scoring.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to blow by the Dolphins quite that badly. Now, they're going to be without a couple of key players. Devon Achane is out. Jalen Waddle's out, according to Adam Schefter, reported that this morning. But that Jets team is, wow.
Yeah, they're in bad shape. And the Dolphins, I think, are trying to kind of win games. They're trying to.
Yeah, they're trying to see if they can make it work with Quinn Ewers. Maybe the players want to keep Mike McDaniel there.
Exactly. They're playing for something. Whatever it is, he's got them playing hard, which is it's a good thing. But I'm not expecting them to light them up like they did last week. But you get some 3-and-outs and you get downfield and maybe you get a couple big plays. Maybe my buddy Travion Henderson breaks a couple big runs and puts this thing away and wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. But look, I think they're going to play a half of football, try and get a lead. And again, like you said, if they've already seen the results of the Jacksonville game, I think that'll determine a lot. Like, okay, we can't get any worse than the 2 seed. Everybody come sit down. But I think with players having bonuses and incentives lined up, I think this is a good way for the coaches to say, you guys have done a great job for us. Let's now reward you. Let's get you guys your bonuses, get you guys paid. And I think that'd be a good thing for the locker room. Is something I think this team needs right now going into the playoffs. If players can watch other guys celebrate these small milestones in this game today, I think that'd be a great locker room thing and a good thing for this team. And I can see them trying to get these guys, their touch. I remember, I think it might have been Gronk or somebody needed a touchdown at the end, and Brady did that little that touch pass to him at the goal line, and he got one more catch.
Oh, that was in Tampa. Yeah.
Something crazy like that.
In the flat.
He got his bonus, so I can see them throwing some screen passes to Diggs or something like that to see if he can get his catches and trying to get guys their numbers or trying to reach incentives. Kind of have fun with it today. Just play a football game. and get them guys out of there at halftime.
Well, like Hunter Henry was one away last week, and they threw him that screen pass at the start of the third quarter. They actually tried twice, and the first time it didn't work. Just some incentives to keep in mind. Stephon Diggs, 8 catches, gets $500K. 30 yards, gets $500K. That would get him to 1,000. Looking through some of these other ones here that are realistic. I know there's a couple more. There's some playtime ones, so depending on how many snaps guys play, some guys could get there. Hunter Henry, 5 catches away from $250,000, another 5 away from another $250,000. So in theory, 10 catches. Hunter Henry banks $500,000 today. Mostly playtime. I know there's one other one. Kayvon Chason needs a sack. That one, it comes with a playtime bonus, but he's already hit that. It was 35% and 7 sacks. He's at 6.5. So even half a sack today for Kayvon Chason, and he puts another $500K in the bank.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Those are the ones to keep an eye on. Jack Gibbons is a playing time one, too. I don't know if he can get enough snaps to get there, but those are some incentives to keep an eye on today. Let's go to the phones. Leo in the truck. Leo, good morning.
Hey, so I had a question.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was wondering what you guys think about Christian Wilkins joining in the offseason. I know, like, nobody's really interested in him. Probably get a good price on him. And he's also from Massachusetts. He's from Framingham.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I feel like he would come back with, like, a chip on his shoulder and be, like, really good for our defense.
So I don't even know if he's healthy, because part of the issue reportedly was they didn't want to get surgery on his foot that he needed. And then there's also just sometimes people know stuff we don't. A guy that talented going unsigned this long, like that's kind of a red flag to me.
Yeah. There's something that we don't know on the inside that all the NFL executives and assistant coaches and head coaches know about him. And you never find out those things until they do a podcast 10 years after he's retired.
Right.
Then you find out what the real issues are. But, yeah, it is a red flag when a guy's still sitting out there like that.
Look, I mean, if they do their due diligence and they're good with it, when he's healthy, he's talented. There's the health thing, too. But, like, we've seen him. When he's on, he's a good player. And so the fact nobody's signed him, there really hasn't even been any reports of him going in for a workout.
Yeah.
So there's just only so much you're going to put up with, and it always is tricky. The guys that don't want to get surgery when they need surgery, that's always kind of tough.
Yeah,
that's always tough because you're making an investment in a guy, and if he's not, I don't want to say fully committed to taking care of his body, but you need surgery. He's not getting surgery. That's an issue between the player and the team, and teams don't want to deal with that. Let's go to Tony in Canada. Tony.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Happy Sunday. I hope we're not all overlooking this game with Miami. I want us to get that 2 seed. I think Denver has the number 1 locked up. But my statement today is moving forward. If we're going to have any success, it's going to be Drake May. Just like I called in last week, and you guys talked about how I wanted him to run more. And you guys said, well, he's not really built like Allen, and he doesn't have to be, but I want to see him use his legs more, especially in those critical situations, short yardage, like 3rd, 4th down, red zone. What Josh showed in Buffalo, or against Buffalo last game, how they used him in those situations, I think is going to be critical moving forward in the playoffs. And my question is, this is kind of, again, off topic, but I related to the last caller, I don't want to see us make any big trades. Like I heard Crosby, 2 first rounds. Do you guys think in the draft how would we build around May? Are we looking more at like that dominant wide receiver, or do we want to build up on the line? I'm thinking linebacker too, but hopefully we have a good day today. Let's go, Pats. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Thanks for the call, Tony. I'm still out on Drake May running too much. He mentioned what Allen did last week, and Allen has a hurt foot.
He's limping. Yeah.
Right. For the offseason, so I'm usually the guy, and Cerrone, you've done the show long enough with me to know that I'm usually like this. When, any of these big names have come up, Brandon Ayuk or who was pass rusher a couple years ago that was available, I think it was Myles Garrett. I'm always the one saying, pump the brakes. They're not there yet. It's too much. I'm usually kind of a wet blanket on those things. I'll own that. to his point, how do you build around Drake May? Drake May kind of gives you the flexibility to take that swing if you want to take it. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I'd give up 2 firsts for Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Would I give up a first? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because odds are you're taking. He asked a question about the receiver. Let's see, and this is not related to what happened this week. Like, we were going to do this offseason regardless. Do you keep Diggs on the second year of that contract? It's not a lot of guaranteed money. He's 31 years old. Like, what's the plan there? Mm-hmm. So let's see what happens with Diggs. But to me, it's an edge rusher linebacker in the first round. And if you're going to take an edge rusher, you're not going to take somebody better than Max Crosby. It's a mystery box or the boat, right? Yeah. The draft pick could be anybody. It could even be Max Crosby. So I think they're at the point where taking a swing like that makes some sense. Mm-hmm. You know, they do need some wide receiver help. That could be the trade market. That's maybe where I'd go in the draft because I actually think this is a decent draft for wide receivers, at least looking at it early on. So, yeah, I'd be into a move like that. I would, at this point, maybe prioritize offensive line over receiver. They're going to need at least 1 guard, if not 2. We'll see what they do with Mike Onwenu. I like Jared Wilson. I think Jared Wilson's future at center is why I say that. So, or if not, if they like Jared Wilson at left guard, see what happens with Garrett Bradbury. He's another guy that doesn't have a lot of guaranteed money next year, although he's been very good, right? They're going to need some sort of interior lineman. You need, at the very least, a project player behind Morgan Moses. Morgan Moses has been good, but he's older, and you need to start thinking about what's left at right tackle. So you could go there. But I would not hate trading a high draft pick for a player like Max Crosby. I'm not going overboard. Not, letting them pick their return. Yeah. But that move would make a lot of sense.
And the Raiders would love an extra first-round pick right now for a guy that's disgruntled. They would take that first-round pick and kickstart their rebuild. I think the Patriots. The top. If you look at any list, the top 25 free agents is loaded with offensive linemen. I think you got to pick up another lineman somewhere, and you put a wall in front of Drake May to go with the 2 young guys that you just drafted and get a little more. I'm gonna say youth, but Moses is one of the older guys in the league, so you get a little younger out there. And I think you need a younger. Hunter Henry's been really good, but I think you need a younger tight end as well.
Tight end is a need. Well, that's another one, like you said, with the line. There's some good young tight ends hitting free agency because I think the idea is you're bringing in somebody right who will be a tight end too, but can step in for Hunter Henry in a year or 2. Mm-hmm. So I look at Isaiah Likely's a good one. Charlie Kohler, the other tight end in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Cade Otton had a big game last night. He's somebody I've always liked. If you want to pay a little bit, I would love to see Kyle Pitts with Drake May. That would be a lot of fun.
You're explosive now.
Right. He's probably going to be a little more expensive, but if that's one of your splashier free agent signings, I could live with that. And then there was one more name. I was looking this up this week. Oh, Foster Moreau, who's probably more of just a tight end too, but somebody that had experience with Josh McDaniels in Vegas, so there's a little bit of a connection there.
Yeah, and with the caller mentioned about the kid being from Massachusetts, you got the same situation with Likely. I'm going to say you get a hometown discount with him, but I'm pretty sure he looks up the list of teams that he want to play for, and I guarantee the Patriots are top 2 on his list. He can get to go home, he gets paid, and he's in a situation with a young quarterback where he can keep rolling and be on a competitive team. So, I mean, they have plenty of options, and that's a good thing to add to what they've already built. So I'm looking forward to it, but not yet.
Malden High and Everett High for Isaiah Likely transferred from Cambridge, grew up in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So very local guy, even more local than Christian Wilkins.
Yes.
A little more, he's outside.
Everett's a factory.
Belt. Yeah, exactly. Let's go to Patty Nagwan before we hit the break. Patty.
Hey, good morning, guys, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Just to kind of expand on your last point, I think just Drake May, the season he had, is going to attract people. But I wanted to throw a couple things at you guys. First thing, I was really a little bit worried about the Dolphins, and, just because of A-Chain, he's a good player, and while the fact that those guys have been ruled out, the fact that Mink has been ruled out, I don't think this is going to be as competitive as a game as everyone thinks it's going to be. Might not be as high scoring as last week, but I think it's more or less the same situation. I think you're going to see a lot of the starters come out, maybe for the first series of the second half, and that's about it. And I want to ask a bigger picture question to you guys, both of you guys. Do you think we haven't seen them play a lot of man coverage this year because not necessarily the cornerbacks, but they don't trust the rest of the personnel, maybe the safeties and the linebackers at that second level to kind of hold the fort down and to cover their man in man coverage? And I'm looking at more specifically Craig Woodson. Not that he's not a good player, but just he's a rookie, and I know for a lot of the times they give the safeties the call for the secondary. And just going forward, do you think into the playoffs, do you think we have to play more man coverage? I'll take it off here, guys.
Thanks for the call, Patty. I would like to see them play more man. I think you might be onto something there, though, where it's not about the corners. It's about the rest of the roster. You go back to the last game against Miami. They kept ending up with Robert Spillane in coverage on Devon Achane, which is a mismatch. So that could be it. But I would like to see them try to find a way to figure it out and play more man.
And I think it's dependent on the quarterbacks they face, because one thing about the quarterbacks in the AFC, I think they all can move. You play man against Josh Allen and he breaks contain, he's gone.
Right.
Bo Nix, he's another one that can take off on you. Trevor Lawrence can use his legs well. Stroud might be the slower. Actually, Aaron Rodgers is the one slow guy, but he's really good getting out of the pocket. He kind of seems like he likes it, but I think it depends on the quarterback and the situation. Third and 10 plus. Yeah, I think I can man up there and try and contain these guys from getting out and scrambling on you. And it depends on the rush. If Milton Williams is back to 100% and Barmore's doing his thing and they're getting after the quarterback, I think you can trust these guys to play a little more man. But you're right. Early in the season, we were questioning Spillane because he kept getting tossed on the island and getting cooked. But they've adjusted as time's going on. And, man, they haven't given up 200 yards passing now, since the Tampa game. So they've given up run plays on the ground, but their pass defense has been pretty decent, going longer than a month now. So I think they're a pretty good defensive squad.
617-779-0985. You want to join us? I want to get more into some Drake May stuff coming up next here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
Stay tuned for more Sunday Kickoff on the Sports Hub. Buy your next boat from Nas. swing of the right leg. Every football game starts with the kickoff. This is Sunday Kickoff with Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on your home for Patriots football. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Going into the last week of the regular season, any thoughts on being at least on the short list when it comes to potential MVP?
Yeah, I think just honor. Just honor. I told everybody's said some things in the locker room. It's us. It's not just me. It's us in the locker room. It's really a team. It's really a team deal. I think. They say it's player, but I think wins help that. So obviously there's been some great seasons around the league from a lot of players, and it's an honor. But also at the same time, we got to work to do.
Back here on Sports Up Sunday Kickoff, Alex Barth, Cerrone Battle. George Sepulveda behind the glass as we get going today. Drake May, that was him this week on the MVP. Since we last spoke, Cerrone, Matthew Stafford had a 3-interception performance in a loss to the Falcons. Drake May threw 5 touchdowns against the Jets. Is Drake May locked up the MVP?
He should have. It just seems like many want to just give it to Stafford, kind of like a Lifetime Achievement Award. But Stafford has lost 3 of his last 5 games and is, a 6 seed right now? A 5 seed, whatever it is. If Drake May threw 3 interceptions and a couple pick sixes, he'd be done.
Right.
And if he was a 5 seed, I don't think he'd have a shot at it. But Drake May, Stafford has lost as many games in the last month and a half as May did all season. So I think winning should be a key part of it. I understand they say, the schedule. Well, Stafford's playing with a better roster. He's got a better team around him. And they're not at the top. You got to see, they're not even the 3rd best team in their own division. So, it's Stafford has had a good season, had a good stretch. He's leading the league in touchdowns, I believe still. But he's lost 3 of his last 5, struggling down the stretch. Without Devontae Adams, that team they've been up and down. He's lost to Carolina. He's lost to an Atlanta team that had nothing to play for. That's 2 teams that has not in the playoffs, most likely. I think Drake May should have locked this up. I think he's doing the most with the least. And his numbers, he's got a QB rating of 115 or something like that? It's ridiculous. But I think Drake May should be the MVP of the league, doing the most with the least. And he's going to end the season with the best record in the league. So I think that all those things should matter in his favor. And Stafford, he's been good, but he's playing with an elite roster, especially on offense. And he might not be the best player in his own huddle.
I think he should have locked it up, Drake May. I think he's been better.
Yeah.
I just don't trust the voters. I still think they're going to give it to Stafford, that Lifetime Achievement thing, because it's funny. You listen to a lot of what, and I've talked about, I don't think the MVP last year was legitimate. Lamar Jackson had a better season than Drake May, than Josh Allen. But they gave it to Josh Allen because I think there was voter fatigue, which admittedly there isn't this time around. But I think there was voter fatigue, and I think they wanted to make sure Josh Allen got one. It felt like a year to give it to him. So it's funny if Dan Orlovsky's been very vocal about Matthew Stafford being the MVP. If you look at what he said this time last year when defending his Josh Allen MVP vote, it applies to Drake May. So I think people just want to vote for who they want to vote for, and they don't look at it closely enough, unfortunately. So I think he should have locked it up, but I still don't trust the voters. You know who I did think maybe didn't lock up the award, but is in good shape, especially after last night. We'll get to last night's games in a little bit here. We go around the league. Mike Vrabel, one step closer to Coach of the Year. Now, Mike McDonald's still done a tremendous job, and I think he deserves to be in that conversation as well. Kyle Shanahan, 3 points with the division on the line.
Yeah.
That ain't no Coach of the Year.
No,
sir.
and I think I know Ben Johnson's up there because the Bears kind of had their turnaround.
Yeah, I think that one's close or should be closer than MVP.
Yeah, but the thing I think was with Ben Johnson and that Bears team, we thought the Bears would be competitive last year. Right. You know what I'm saying? They kind of underachieved. We saw the moves they made in the offseason and their pickups, and the expectations were higher for the Bears to be a good football team. The expectations for the Patriots were higher, but not like the Bears. Nobody thought the Patriots were going to win a division. But I think they far exceeded expectations. And again, with this roster, their roster I don't think is as good as Chicago's. And I think that plays a huge part into Vrabel with Coach of the Year chances. Yeah. And the same thing with the Bears. People hold the schedule against the Patriots. The Bears have only beaten 2 teams, I think, with a winning record all season. It's very similar. There's a lot of teams with that because a third of the league is terrible. 2/3 of the league is terrible. But you can't hold the schedule against the Patriots and then say, well, the Bears and Ben Johnson, look what they've done, whatever. No, they've only beat a couple teams with a winning record too. But I think they had higher expectations. They have a better roster. And I think what this Patriots team has done, their turnaround is remarkable. And I think Vrabel should be coach of the year.
617-779-0985. You want to join us? Let's go through last night's game and around Week 18. First, a check of the headlines, 90 seconds. No commercials here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
From the Top Your Time Studios, it's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Patriots wrap up their regular season today at home against the Miami Dolphins. Coverage begins at 1:30 right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, leading up to a 4:25 kickoff. The Patriots can finish anywhere between the number 1 and number 3 seed in the AFC, depending on the day's results. They would need a Jaguars loss to the Titans, that's at 1 o'clock, to lock them into a top 2 seed. Or just a win locks them into a top 2 seed. If they want to get the 1 seed, they would need a win in Denver to lose to the Chargers. That game is at 4:25. Also, just looking ahead on the slate tonight, the Ravens and Steelers battle for first place in the championship of the AFC North. But as Patriots get ready to take on the Dolphins, they are getting healthier. The team activating Milton Williams and Will Campbell from IR yesterday. Both are expected to play in this one. Meanwhile, for the Dolphins, running back Devon Achane and wide receiver Jalen Waddle not expected to play, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Last night, Jaylen Brown responded to his Eastern Conference Player of the Month snub by dropping 50 points in the Celtics' 146-115 win over the Los Angeles Clippers. Brown shot 18 of 26 from the floor and 6 of 10 from deep. Jordan Walsh added a 13-point, 13-rebound double-double in the win. The Bruins are on the West Coast as well, playing late. They picked up a 3-2 win over the Vancouver Canucks in overtime. Fraser Minton scored 2 goals for the Bruins. That included the overtime game winner. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Super Service Today. Winter is here. Don't get caught in the cold. Book your home heating system health and safety check with Super Service Today. They offer New England's most comprehensive heating system safety check. Schedule now at superservicetoday.com. Super Service Today. I'm Alex Barth on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 10 o'clock.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle are here. Talking football every Sunday morning with the insiders and with you. It's Sunday Kickoff on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Pick a target.
You pick it.
Take your pick.
Pick me. Pick me.
I did not pick. There was no pick.
Pick him up. You pick him up.
Pick.
I pick.
Pick me, pick me, pick me.
Take the teams.
Pick one, jerk.
It is Week 18 in the National Football League. Final one of the regular season. A lot to get to here. Alex Barth, Cerrone Battle, George Spolda behind the glass on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff. Let's get right into it. We'll start last night with the Panthers and the Bucs.
You know, bring the joy back to football a little bit for guys that weren't having as much fun.
Bucs having fun after that one. They pick up the win 16-14, and they now wait because Saints-Falcons, a game between two teams that are not in the playoffs, is going to decide who wins the NFC South. I love it, Cerrone. I love it. But I did think the Panthers would take care of business yesterday. I was underwhelmed by what I saw from Bryce Young.
Yeah, and they when they had their opportunities, they shot themselves in the foot. The flea flicker in the rain, man. It just that was just a bad setup there. But there was a couple controversial calls in that game. I think the McMillan offensive pass interference is a little wild. But, I mean, he hit the guy in the head right in front of the ref. I mean, they had to call it. But Carolina had their chances, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot too many times.
Also, how about them saying the ball went out of bounds when the ball just very clearly did not, like, nowhere close?
It's like 5 yards away.
And the NFL officials are upset that they want to be paid based on performance. That'll be a fun story this offseason. Let's go to the other game last night, 13-3 Seahawks. The Seahawks at the Niners.
You feel me? Start taking care of y'all mentals, y'all bodies, and y'all chicken.
13-3, the final score. Seahawks pick up the win. That was a fun one. For a low-scoring game, I actually really enjoyed that one.
That was a good game. It was good football by the Seahawks. The way they punched the Niners in the mouth on the ground was very impressive, and that's something you're definitely going to have to deal with in the playoffs. If they can run the ball like that, that's a tough out they're going to be hard, really hard to beat if they can run the ball like that.
Are the Seahawks just won the best division in football? Are they the best team in football? Or are they the Super Bowl favorite?
Man, it's funny. I think the weakest link is the quarterback. We saw this last year with Sam Darnold. Minnesota lit it up, got in the playoffs, and all of a sudden he turned right back to Sam Darnold again. I think he has to prove that he's not that guy in order for them to go forward. But I think they are a really good team, but I think he's the weakest link.
I couldn't believe it when they said the stat at the beginning of the game. 20 turnovers on the year for the quarterback of a 14-win team. 20 that's insane.
They'd probably be undefeated if it wasn't for him.
We would be... If Drake May had the year we thought he was going to have, we would be hyping that up. Oh, no, see, you could still win. Now, Drake May stopped turning the ball over because he's a great player, but 20 turnovers with 14 wins should not be possible. Your quarterback should not have more turnovers than your team has wins. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. All right, let's get to today's slate, and we start with the de facto NFC Championship game, the 6-10 Saints at the 7-9 Falcons.
You like that? You like that?
So the winner of this division will be 7-9. We will have an under 500 team, or 8-9. Sorry, we'll have an under 500 team in the playoffs. The Panthers and Buccaneers are both tied at 7 and at 8-9 right now. So what happens is, if they're both 8-9 and the Falcons lose today and become 8-10, it's a two-way tiebreaker. The Bucs have the advantage, I believe. But if it's a three-way tiebreaker, the Panthers have the advantage. No, sorry, I keep getting this one mixed up. I'll look it up. Who do you got, Cerrone? Falcons, 3.5-point favorites.
I got the Falcons. They're playing hard. You saw what they did last week to the Rams. I think they're trying to close out the season, similar to Miami. I think they're out there playing hard, and some guys will be playing for incentives and bonuses or whatever. But I think Atlanta's just playing good football, and they just have more explosive players out there that even if they're just taking it easy, they got too many guys that can just break one. So give me Atlanta in this one.
So the three-way tie... the three-way tiebreaker does not favor the Panthers. Or does favor the Panthers. It does not favor the Bucs.
So the Panthers need the Saints to win.
I believe so. I love how confusing this is. I love how stupid this is.
It's awesome.
This is awesome. I want to make sure I get the right answer because they kept saying it last night too, and I don't know why I couldn't keep track of it. If the Falcons win, the Panthers go to the playoffs.
Okay, there you go.
So the Panthers have the advantage in three-way tiebreaker. That's more than enough time spent on that game. I got the Saints. They've been hot. I got the Saints winning that one. 4-2 Browns at 6-10 Bengals.
I'm extremely grateful to have yet another opportunity to do what the Lord has called me to do in the NFL, and that's be a starting NFL quarterback.
Bengals 8.5-point favorites at home.
Yeah, I guess give me the Bengals. I'm not sure who's playing or how long they're going to play these guys. But I can see the Browns playing their younger talent more, just evaluating their guys. And for that, I say give me the Browns just because I think they're young, good. Most of their good players are young. I think they play longer in the game than the Bengals.
I think the Bengals are still trying to prove something. Give me the Bengals, even though they're out of it. The 8-8 Colts at the 11-5 Texans.
JJ Wow. Little JJ Wow. That's what we used to call him.
Texans 10.5-point favorites in this one. They would need a win and a Jaguars loss to clinch the AFC South.
Oh, so they're playing for something. Give me the Texans. Big.
And no Phillip Rivers for the Colts. They're going to go with Riley Leonard. I'm with you. Texans big. And then the other half of the AFC South, 3-13 Titans at the 12-4 Jags.
Duval.
Jags win the division with a win in this. Wouldn't matter what the Texans do. They're actually still sneaky alive for the 1 seed. So they win this game, they win the division. They'll be at least a 3 seed. And then they move up a spot. They have the tiebreakers against both the Broncos and the Patriots. So if one of those teams loses, they move up to the 2. If both those teams lose, Jacksonville could walk out of here with the 1 seed. They also have, against the Titans, tied for the biggest spread of the week, 13.5 points to run.
This would be the typical game that Trevor Lawrence throws up on himself. But I don't think it's going to. I think the roster's too good around him this time to keep him from doing that. But give me the Jags in this one. I think they cover that 13 late in the game.
So the Jags have a lot to play for. and they're just a more talented team, and I think they win. Cam Ward's kind of doing the Drake May thing, if you go watch him, though, where he's individually been very impressive. There's just not enough talent around him for it to show up in the box score on highlights. I think the Jags win this game. I think they win it relatively comfortably because of what's at stake. I think it gets a little interesting, though. I think the Titans cover. I think it's like a 10-point game. I think Cam Ward gives one last show to end the year to kind of convince fans that there's momentum going into
and play
next year.
Spoiler.
Right. But I think the Jaguars win and take that division. The 9-6-1 Packers at 8-8 Vikings.
Final Packer offensive lineman announced during pregame introductions was who?
Jerry Kramer.
No!
Green Bay locked into the 7 seed, so they are in the playoffs but playing for nothing. Minnesota at 8-8 playing for nothing. If only there wasn't a tie in that Cowboys-Packers game earlier in the year, this game would be a lot more fun. A lot more on the line, but instead there's nothing. Vikings 10.5-point favorites. I believe Green Bay is expected to rest a lot of players.
Yeah, I just never would have thought in a million years that Green Bay wouldn't reach double-digit wins this year. I just thought they'd be near the top of the NFC, but for them to be sitting there with only 9 wins this late in the year is kind of wild. Give me the Vikings in this one. Again, I think they're evaluating what they have, and they're going to be out there playing hard, whereas Green Bay is just trying to just stay healthy at this point.
Malik Willis, it's a good chance for him to show out. I'll take the Packers in this one.
Yeah, he's been good recently.
The 7-8-1 Cowboys at 3-13 Giants.
And so, having said that, I want me some glory hole.
Giants needing a loss here to stay towards the top of the draft order. They enter today, scheduled to get the 2nd overall pick. They are 3.5-point underdogs at home to the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys. I think Cowboys are going to blow them out. They're always looking to make noise and make a splash. The Cowboys are going to blow the Giants out.
I don't know how much Dak is supposed to play in this game. I do believe he is starting if I saw that this week. I will say this. I saw a lot of Cowboys fans talking earlier this week about how they want the loss for the draft position. And they were pointing to a certain backup quarterback to help deliver that. You know who the Cowboys' backup quarterback is, right? He doesn't do that. That's not how he rolls.
No, we know that all too well.
Joe Milton Show. Give me the Cowboys. Into the 4 o'clock window. Real quick rant here before we get to this game. There are more 4 o'clock games today than 1 o'clock games. A couple years ago, the NFL said it was going to stop neglecting the 4 o'clock window. They were going to do more to make the 4 o'clock window competitive, balance it. If anything, they've done the opposite. There were 2 4 o'clock games last week. I would love to see the NFL. I don't need all the kickoffs to be 1 o'clock local. You talk to fans who go to games regularly, they love the 4:25 home kickoff. Yeah. Everybody says that's the best to go to the game. You get a longer tailgate without getting up early. You're not home too late. I would love to see the league like today, and I understand why it is the way it is today. I would love to see the league balance the 1 and 4 o'clock windows more the way they've done it today. I think it would be a great thing for the fans.
And I think aesthetically, I think it looks great because you get the sunset and then you get the night game kind of feel with it. I think it's pretty cool.
I really hope that more is made of this today. From the neutral fans who are on their couch watching Red Zone, flipping through games, and maybe they don't want to devalue that like 4:25 game of the week. It would still be a big game. It shouldn't just be West Coast teams. I want more balance from the 1 and 4 o'clock slates. I feel very strongly about this. That being said, as we get to the 4 o'clock slate, we'll start it with the Jets and the Bills.
No, it's the Bills!
Final game at Highmark for the 11-5 Bills hosting the 3-13 Jets. Josh Allen was removed from the injury report. I can't imagine he plays this whole thing, but I do think it matters to the Bills. They close out that stadium with a win. Buffalo with a loss, locked into the 7 seed with a win. They can climb as high as 5, depending on what happens with the Texans and Chargers.
So if they lose this game, if they lose this game intentionally, they go to Foxborough, right?
Unless Patriots lose.
Okay, yeah. You think there's any way they're trying to set up a matchup against the Patriots, or you think playing a team you were down 21-0 is the team you want to see 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later?
I think that is kind of how the Bills think. They just look at wins and losses, and they would see they won that game. Maybe. To me, the bigger concern should be resting Josh Allen because of his foot.
Yeah.
And if that sets you up in New England, so be it. But final game at Highmark, and the Jets are, even if
terrible.
Trubisky plays, I mean, come on. They should win this game. I got the Bills in this one. If the Bills win, then the Patriots win. They wouldn't be playing in the first round. They could still meet as 3-6 with the Bills win and a Patriots loss. Let's go to the 8-8 line, and we'll get more into the scenarios coming up here. Let's go to the 8-8 Lions at 11-5 Bears.
Caleb was so accurate in the preseason.
Well, he wasn't accurate. He's 10 for 20.
This is the highest total of the week, 50.5 points. The Bears 3.5-point underdogs at home as they try to hold on to that number 2 seed in the NFC.
The Bears 3.5 underdogs at home against a dome.
3.5-point favorites at home.
Oh, they're favorites. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I mean, it's. I think Detroit. If you think they were going for it on fourth down before, this going to be like playing Madden today. I can see the Bears winning this game, but Detroit's going to be ultra aggressive trying to get the upset.
I got the Bears. I think they end the regular season on a high note. Now the game all the Patriots fans will be watching: the 11-5 Chargers at 13-3 Broncos.
They're going to kick it. They're going to kick it.
Kick what?
Kicking the field goal.
What?
13.5-point spread with Trey Lance starting for the Chargers. Either way, massive implications for the Patriots here. If the Broncos lose, obviously a Patriots win would give them the 1 seed. Broncos win, Chargers loss. They would just need a Bills win over the Jets, and that would push the Chargers down to the 7 seed no matter what Houston does, and that sets up Patriots-Chargers for the wild card rounds around.
I think Denver wins this game, but the way they've been all season, they're going to find a way to let the Chargers hang around, and then they'll get a field goal, something at the end, and win this game. The Broncos all season, from beginning to now, have played down to their competition, even with backups in the game. They're going to win this game, but they're going to sweat it out like they've done all year. That's who they are.
Yeah, Broncos win, but I do think it's closer than 13.5. I'm with you on that. The Cardinals and the Rams.
All right, bring him down in short motion and get to Halle Berry. Halle Berry, come out with some depth out of this.
Rams, I believe, can still jump a spot to the 5 seed with a win. They're 9.5-point favorites over the Cardinals.
Rams are going to try and light it up. They're going to try and win the MVP for their quarterback. Give me the Rams in this one. Stafford's going to get 45 pass attempts. They're going to try and win MVP for their guy.
6-10 Chiefs at 2-14 Raiders.
That dad bod, man.
Mendoza Bowl. Chiefs come in 5.5-point favorites. Lowest total of the week, 36 points. A Raiders loss means Tom Brady gets to pick his new quarterback at the top of the 2026 NFL draft.
Raiders are probably going to put 9 guys on the field. This is going to be horrible to watch. Give me Kansas City to win this game.
Kansas City to win and ruin their draft pick a little bit. They're a top 10 pick right now. Probably not going to stay there if they win this game. Patriots, Dolphins, 11.5-point spread. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Final 4 o'clock game of the week. The 4-12 Commanders at the 11-5 Eagles.
Jalen Hurts is a winner. He's a winner. He wins, right?
Eagles would need a win and a Bears loss to jump to the 2 seed, so they are playing for something. They're 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah, give me the Eagles. They're trying to get right before the playoffs, and I think they're going to blow these guys out. With all the stuff they've been through, they want that 2 seed.
And finally, the 8-8 Ravens at the 9-7 Steelers.
You humiliated me, dude, on national television, so I want restitution.
The Which Coach Keeps Their Job Bowl. 2 longtime coaches, frustrating seasons. Steelers 3.5-point dogs at home in this one.
Give me the Ravens, man. I think Metcalf might have ruined the Steelers. I think his actions might have cost his team a chance to go to the playoffs.
I'm going to take the Steelers. It'd be very Tomlin to win this game. Lamar Jackson has not looked right, and he's banged up and all that.
Playing, yeah.
I think the Steelers win this one, and it's the end of the Harbaugh era in Baltimore. There you go. Week 18, National Football League. We'll be back to talk more Patriots Dolphins next here on 98.5 Sports Hub.
I'm going to fight and die to protect them with everything I've got.
More Sunday Kickoff is on the way on the Sports Hub. Kickoff with Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on your station for the best football coverage. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Nix is rolling. Nix will throw, and it's caught for the touchdown by R.J. Harvey.
That set things up the way they are now. Patriots needing a Broncos loss and a win to secure the 1 seed. It's Alex Barth, Cerrone Battle here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff. So, Cerrone, I'm going to ask you this. Let's start this way as we kind of look at the AFC playoff picture. Not much in terms of competitive games. There's some important games for the Patriots, but they're all relatively lopsided.
Mm-hmm.
We have Colts-Texans. It's a 10.5-point spread. Jaguars-Titans. It's a 13.5-point spread. Bills-Jets, somehow only 8.5. Broncos-Chargers, 13.5. Patriots-Dolphins, 11.5. So none of these teams are playing each other. The teams that have something at stake here in this game. Which team's the most likely to get upset of those AFC teams this week?
Jags. I would say the Jags. Broncos. If the Chargers play a lot of their starters, I think they could make it really competitive. But I think the Tennessee with nothing to lose here, and they already have their quarterback, I think they're going to be airing it out trying to get the big plays. And if you get burnt a few times, you can find yourself in a dogfight. So I would say the Jags, because I think Denver's defense is just too good. I think the defense will be enough to take care of it no matter what happens on offense. But I think the Jags are the one team that could slip up against Tennessee.
Coming into the week, I said the Jaguars and the Patriots, just because I think the Dolphins by default are the best team on the other side of any of those. But no Achane, no Waddle certainly changes that.
Yeah.
How close are you looking at these other matchups? Who do you want to see the Patriots draw in the first round?
Oh, man. Who would I want to see? Probably the Chargers, because they got to take the flight. They're banged up. Their offensive line is taking a beating. And I think a banged-up offensive line on the road in Foxborough with Milton Williams, yes, he's just now coming back. But Milton Williams would be incredibly fresh. He hasn't had it. He hasn't taken a beating for a month now. And like you said, with 50 days or whatever it is, he's going to come in incredibly fresh and fired up, probably playing against a couple of backups. I think him and Barmore, and I think Barmore's going to be playing with a little extra energy. I think they can really get after Justin Herbert and make it tough on them. I think they're just a team that's just been up and down and inconsistent, and on the road in Foxborough, I think will be really tough for them.
So I don't think the Chargers are a walkover by any means, and I've seen some people push back this week, like, why do you want them to play the Chargers? Like, that's a tough matchup. It is. It's not as tough as the Texans. It's not as tough as the Bills.
Yeah.
That's just the reality, and I think the Jaguars are going to win that division. I'd put the Jaguars somewhere in between those. So I'm in on the Chargers, and that's the silver lining here for the Patriots, is if they don't get the 1 seed, those two games being head-to-head, if the Chargers lose, I think we can all count on the Bills to beat the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now you get the Chargers, and I think that's realistically as good of a draw as you can ask for if you
Well, real quick, though.
Yeah.
If you're going to get the Bills, would this be the week to do it? With Josh Allen still not 100%?
Still bang. Yeah, there might be something to that. But also, like, if they're weak early, they could just get knocked off. That's the thing. You start looking further down the road, and do you get in a scenario where, like, let's say the Bills are the 6th seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take care of business against the Chargers, well, now the Bills have to go to Denver.
I got you. Yeah.
Right. So either they knock off Denver, and at the very least you're at home, and I guess then you are playing them down the road, but they're at home, or Josh Allen's still banged up, and first they'd have to get through Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be easy, right? So there's maybe something to that, but I also think there's a chance that maybe you just don't get them. That maybe you just there's a real possibility the Patriots only have to play one of Denver, Buffalo, and Houston.
Yeah.
There's a real possibility. It's more likely going to be 2. You're not going to get all 3. It's more likely going to be 2, because let's say the 2 wild card teams win. The Bills beat the Jags. The Texans beat the Steelers. Well, now the Bills go to Denver. You play Houston, and then you'd get the winner of that Bills-Broncos game. Now, if the Jags beat the Bills, then it's Houston going to Denver. You'd get Jacksonville, and then you dodge all but one. You're not going to dodge all of them unless we think the Steelers or Ravens are going to pull off some insane upset. but that's kind of what I'm looking for down the road. Is not just who the Patriots get, but how this all lines up, and what is the Houston, Buffalo, Denver path is something we'll be watching for as well. Of course, though, the Patriots need to take care of business against the Dolphins. We'll get back to that, plus your calls next here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
More Sunday Kickoff coming up on the Sports Hub. It's never too early to talk football on Sunday.
Coming to the game on Sunday.
This is Sunday Kickoff with Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Back here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff, Alex Barth, Cerrone Battle, getting you ready for Patriots, Dolphins, and all NFL Week 18. We are taking up until 10 o'clock, and then it will be Matt Dolph and Ty Anderson. A little Sports Hub Underground takeover leading up to Patriots, Dolphins, pregame coverage at 1:30. Then obviously Bob and Zoe will have the call at 4:25. And it'll be Joe Murray and Mark Dendero in for postgame after that. Let's go to your phones. Randy in Providence. Randy.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going?
Morning.
So I'm kind of
looking a little into the off season, these last 2 weeks, just not the most difficult games. And I'm curious, I like the Max Crosby trade you guys were talking about, or the potential of the Max Crosby trade that you guys were talking about earlier, primarily because I've heard a lot of talk of people that think that like edge rusher is really the biggest need for the Patriots. And my thing is, I think that if we need an edge rusher, we need a star, like a stud guy. I don't think we need to put our first round pick into another rotational edge rusher that's just kind of going to join that group, I think if we're going to
if you're taking an edge guy in the first round, I think the expectation is he's more than a rotational player, but I get what you're saying.
Well, if you're picking at 28 or 30, sometimes you're not getting that sort of pop guy, right?
Right. I think that the unique thing about this class is it's deeper and there's more of those guys, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I also, looking at the Mac Hollins injury, I think there are a couple guys in the draft that kind of have that body type, have that run blocking ability, that ability to kind of be like a little bit of a chess piece in the McDaniels offense in the same way that Mac Hollins has been. And so I'm wondering what you guys think about Denzel Boston and Malachi Fields. I think they're both different round targets, right? Denzel Boston probably the first round, Malachi Fields probably the third. But those big body guys that can get the contested catch situations, and they're good run blockers. So I'd like to hear what you think about those guys.
Thanks for the call, Randy. I mean, I like Malachi Fields. I do. Why not just bring Mac Hollins back? And as far as we know, this injury isn't anything that's going to hold him out for next year. Like Mike Vrabel didn't close the door of him returning in the playoffs, and he's still under contract. So
yeah,
I would just, he's got good chemistry with Drake May. He's good in the room. I would just bring Mac Hollins back. You can find guys like that in the draft every year. I mean, yeah, in theory, you'll need a replacement eventually, but I would just stick with Mac Hollins. He's a big loss. We've talked about it. He's a big loss for this team.
Yeah, he absolutely is. I think he's great for the locker room. I think there's good like you said, good chemistry. Fan favorite. He's got he checks all the boxes, has all the intangibles. You can get a guy from college that can match him talent-wise on the field, but if the kid's a jerk or he just doesn't vibe with everybody the same, it can be a detriment to your team. But I think Matt Collins has been an incredible signing by this team, and just incredible chemistry, and just a good guy off the field in the locker room. I think he's a guy you have to figure out a way to bring back. And as far as his point about getting the edge rusher later in the draft, look, Abdul Carter was a top 5 pick, but the best defensive end edge rusher in that draft might be James Pierce, who came out. He was the 26th, 27th pick?
That trade still looks brutal for the Falcons, though.
Yeah. he can end up with double-digit sacks for the season, but you can get a good edge rusher later in the draft, especially with a deep class of edge rushers. But you can get an every down guy late in this draft. He's still a first-round pick. And if you can find yourself with a guy that can get you 8.5, 9 now, that can get you that many sacks and create that kind of pressure, you're doing things.
Speaking of edge rushers, and to bring it back to today's game, like something I'm looking for too, do they continue to let the kids get more involved? And Harold Landry is one of the players who's out for this game. Caleb Von Chason needs half a sack for an incentive, so I'd assume they're going to let him play a good amount. But, if this thing starts to open up a little bit, I'd like to see Braden Swinson. I'd like to see Elijah Ponder. What do they have in those guys? Because it's a spot where they need depth, too. It's not just the top of the depth chart. They really don't have a lot of bodies after moving on from some of the guys they moved on from this offseason, Keon White during the season. So those are some guys, it's another big chance then on offense. Obviously, Efton Chisholm, Kyle Williams. Do we see C.J. Dupree get involved at all at tight end? Ernest Johnson, does he get a chance to show what he can do with Terrell Jennings eligible to come back from IR next week? I'm interested once again. Some of these younger guys that had a good summer, but we haven't really seen because for the most part, the health on this team has been good. It's another big week for those guys.
Yeah, I would love to see guys in the front seven, really show off today. And to see if one of these guys can find a way to get on the field in the playoff situation on a 3rd and long or something like that. We just get after the quarterback, see what you got there. And I would love to see them. I think they're going to have opportunities for that. But in a weird way, if the defense is playing good, you're going to have a lot of 3 and outs. It's going to be less reps for these guys. But I would love to see the younger guys, see what they can do. And look, see what kind of depth you have going forward. I know way back in the day, early dynasty days, you had your core guys, but then you had like the Tully Bandicanes kind of come in I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but come in and be impact players, filling in for other guys in certain roles and situations. See if you can find you a guy like that can come in and get hot. You only need him to be good for 2 or 3 games. That's it. If you can find a guy to get hot defensively and figure out something or something clicks the way he's getting after quarterback this time of season, it could only be an asset for this team.
Tully Bandicane's a great pull, by the way. Great pull. What do you make of this Dolphins? We really haven't talked a lot about them. Obviously, they won't have Devon Achane. They won't have Jalen Waddle today, according to Adam Schefter. Both of those players are expected to be out, but they got a little something going here with Quinn Ewers. I don't remember where you were on Quinn Ewers before the draft. He was somebody I was a little disappointed with last year. Thought he'd be better. Was playing hurt. Now starting to put it together in a limited role. They've had a lot of success with play action. That's kind of how they've gotten him jump started. I would think a lot of that is Devon Achane, who again isn't going to play today. So we'll see what that looks like. But how much of a threat are they? And just looking forward, big picture, AFC East, like is Quinn Ewers the answer there? Do they need a quarterback? Is Mike McDaniel going to be back? Do you think he could save his job today? Where are you at with the Dolphins heading into this game?
Hey, man, look, I think I was down on him because I think before last season, you got to remember that he was talked about as he was him. He was the cover NCAA, was the back of his jersey. He was the guy.
Well, he's one of the highest rated high school recruits of all time.
Yeah, he was the man, and I didn't think he was worthy of that first couple rounds. But look, if you find you a guy, if you end up with a guy like that late in the draft, and you got an opportunity to play him, and he gets going, you found something there, and you're not paying him $50-60 million. But I think he's going to be a decent player. I think if you put the right pieces around him, just like he was at Texas, you put the right guys around him, he's going to make some plays. He can cost you some here, but he's going to make plays. I think unless the Dolphins, they keep winning games, so they're sliding back. But I don't know who in the draft they would go after that would already be snatched up. So you might have no choice but to roll with him at quarterback and see what he can do. Give him a year. You're rebuilding anyway, and it seems like they're not going to fire the coach, so he's good to go. I think you give him a shot, and you got a good running game now, and see if you can build that Dolphins team around him. Now, I think this game today might be the coldest game he's ever played in his life, and we'll see what kind of player he is in those conditions and situations. But look, man, I would like to see him get a shot.
I'd like to see him get a shot. I don't think he's like Brock Purdy or anything, though. I'd be pretty disappointed. It is supposed to be under 30, by the way, at kickoff. No snow. That's supposed to die down. I think it's still snowing right now, but that's supposed to die down. I can't believe they're actually going to keep McDaniel. I can't believe
shocking.
This is such fool's gold down the stretch here. It clearly doesn't work, and you especially can't let him pick the next quarterback. So I don't understand it, but hey, I think it's good for the Patriots if he hangs around. So
yeah, that's true. Do you think is Ewers his guy, or do you think that's ownership of the guys upstairs saying, play the kid?
Well, they fired their GM.
Well,
so if he is the front office guy, it's tough to say. But like he's playing over Zach Wilson, which I guess makes sense, right? You want to see what you have in the kid, but it'll just be interesting to see, the first look at him and all of that. But you hope the Patriots just get up big and can cruise. We'll see. They're not going to walk through them like they did the Jets. I'm not expecting. What was it? 20? Did the Jet? Was it 28-0, or did the Jets get the field goal before then?
They might have gotten the field goal.
I'm not expecting that, but I'm expecting them to give Quinn Ewers a little bit of a welcome to the NFL moment here.
I think Drake May, honestly, he could have broke the was it the NFL record? Was it 6 touchdowns in a game or something like that? He could
record, I think, is 7.
It's 7. I think he could have easily got it if he stayed in the game.
If he kept going. They were they were on one. But maybe that's what he knew. He was coming out of the game. He had to get it in early. So there you go.
Yeah.
We'll be back next to wrap it up. Game picks here on the final Sports Hub Sunday kickoff of the 2025 NFL regular season.
Stay tuned for more Sunday kickoff on the Sports Hub. Sports Exception. and swing the right leg. Every football game starts with the kickoff. This is Sunday Kickoff with Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on your home for Patriots football. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Back here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff, Alex Barth, Cerrone Battle, George Spolda filling in behind the glass today. We got another 10 minutes here until we wrap this thing up, and then it's going to be Matt Dolph and Ty Anderson taking you up to Patriots pregame at 1:30 with Jim Murray and Chris Gasper. Bob and Zoe will have the call at 4:25, and then it's going to be Joe Murray and Mark Dondero in with you for postgame. But again, Matt Dolph, Ty Anderson, Jeff Williams coming up next. Big Bruins game last night, big Celtics game last night. Bruins win in overtime. Jaylen Brown responds to his snub for Player of the Month, drops 50. I'm sure those guys will have plenty on that, especially for those of you who didn't stay up late, missed it. They'll get you caught up there. But before we can get there, we got to make some game picks, sir. Patriots, Dolphins, who you got?
Of course, I got the Patriots in this one. I think they really turn it on them early. I think they kind of put on a show and then get their guys out of there. I think they try and get the incentives for Diggs and get them out the way early and just kind of celebrate the season that they've had and kind of enjoy themselves a little bit today and then get out of there healthy and just get out of the halftime. I got the Patriots winning this one. I think they get 30 again. I'm going to say like 31, 14, 17 or something like that.
So I think kind of similar to last week, but I think the Dolphins are in better position to kind of run it up against the backups a little bit. So this is going to sound close than maybe people think, but I think this is the Dolphins scoring late. Say 34-21 Patriots, but call it 2 garbage time touchdowns for the Dolphins in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I'm going to go 34-21 Patriots. We're going to do some multiple picks this week, as we do when there are big games relevant to the Patriots in other spots. Jaguars, Titans, who you got?
Oh, I got the Jags, but I think that's going to be a tight one there. I think the Titans are going to put up a fight, and I think Cam Ward's going to try and make a statement to play spoiler. The Jags are going to win, but they're going to really sweat that one out.
I'm going to go Jags 27-21 in that one.
Yeah.
I think that's a sneaky close one. And Chargers, Broncos.
Same situation. I think the Broncos will win, but the Chargers, if they play enough of their starters, I think can keep it competitive. And for some reason, Denver always plays down to their competition. They've been doing it all year. Denver is going to have a chance to blow them out and find a way to shoot themselves in the foot. But they'll win this game similar to the games they've had earlier where it's like a weird score, like 19-14 or something like that. But the Broncos will win in a close game.
I was going to say 17-10. And then one more, Jets-Bills. Is even worth doing this one. No. I just think the Bills send Highmark out on a high note. I'm going to make a positive Bills pick for once. I'm going to say 34-3 Bills.
Yeah, I can see that. The Jets, I don't know what's going on with them. Even when they had chances to score last week, they took Brees. I had Brees Hall on my fantasy team. They took him out inside the 5 several times. I don't know what was going on there, but the Jets have no interest in winning any games. Give me the Bills. Bills big.
We do have some extra time here, and we do have a call on the line. So go to Derek and Act. Oh, I just dropped you. Derek, call back. I apologize. I hit the wrong button. Derek, call back. One more game for you, Cerrone. Do the Raiders secure the first overall pick?
Yeah, that would be terrible. That'd be bad if they did. But I think they still, even if they don't, I still think they get their quarterback. Unless the Giants sneak in there and trade that to somebody who really needs a quarterback. But I still think they get their quarterback, even if they fall to the second pick. But yeah, I don't see the Raiders winning this game. They're the only team, the Jets, I think, are the only team I think they could beat at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Mendoza in Vegas is going to be cool. Working with Brady. I'm looking forward to that. All right. I'm going to hit the right button this time, Derek. I'm very sorry about that. Derek and Acton to close us out.
Hey, no problem. Hey, great show as always.
Thank you.
Hey, I know we got the playoff game today, but I'm just looking ahead to next year. Is there talk about moving Campbell to guard and Wilson to center next year? And they go left tackle again in the draft, or what are you guys hearing about that?
Thanks for the call, Derek. I haven't heard anything. I wouldn't expect it. Again, left tackle, outside of quarterback, maybe the hardest position to find.
Yeah.
And you have a guy that can play it. If you tell me that there's some way to go find a better left tackle, I guess I'd consider it. But if you do that, you're essentially using your first-round pick on a guard. Because you're moving Will Campbell inside. That's what you're doing. So, no, I don't think they're going to look to do that. Wilson to center, maybe, and to tie it
eventually.
back to today's game. Because Wilson, he's out. He's still dealing with a concussion. I wonder if they look at Ben Brown as a potential answer there. And just say, we're going to go, a lot of people have compared him to Ted Karras, who was kind of looked as that super backup. But then he got a chance to start, and he was pretty good. So I think there's tremendous value in Ben Brown being that sixth offensive lineman. And they've obviously paid him, and he's paid more like a backup. But, he has another good game today. If they're left side, and we'll see what they do on the right side, there's other questions there. Is Campbell, Ben Brown, Jared Wilson next year? And Garrett Bradbury's still under contract, but there's no guarantee money. We'll have to see what happens with that one. They could do a lot worse. I wouldn't hate that. So that's another young guy to me that has a chance to step up today and make a statement.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to hit free agency again, Linda Baum from the Ravens is a free agent at center. There's a lot of guys, interior linemen, that are free agents if you want to add to that. But I don't see them messing with that offensive line. This at this point, I think they found something with those two guys on the left side, and they'll just build around that. But I don't see them moving any of those and messing with that going forward.
No, again, I just. They've said they think Jared Wilson's long-term future is at center, which is why I put some weight in that and him maybe moving. They have not indicated at any point that they want Will Campbell to play guard. And he's been a starting caliber left tackle. That's so hard to find. There's maybe 20 guys in the league that can do that.
Yeah.
So the rush to move him inside, I can't believe I'm still getting these calls a year after, a year later, we're still doing this. Get ready for Reuben Bain. Get ready to talk about Reuben Bain, by the way. In the draft, who also has short arms at defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't think you got to put yourself in Drake May's situation. Would you want Will Campbell moved? You don't want, he's your blindside guy. He's your friend. You want him over there. You trust him. You trust Wilson on that side of the field. And the kid, look, he at times he's played like he potentially could be a Pro Bowl left tackle. You're not moving that and messing with that. You've got your quarterback. You've got your left tackle. Now you build your pieces around that. And you got potentially a star running back behind them. You're building something there in the right way. You got the quarterback, you got your left tackle, you got your ground game. You just build around that, and you don't mess with it. We've seen what happens when you mess with young quarterbacks after a successful season, and I don't want to see them messing with anything around Drake May.
I will say, the way they've kind of leaned on Travion Henderson these last 2 weeks, to again bring it back to today, I wouldn't hate it if it's not a get up, right, get the lead, but I wouldn't mind not seeing a ton of Travion Henderson today. He's a guy that could probably use some rest. More Ramondre, certainly some Darrenus Johnson. And that's a guy, you talk about who needs to rest, who needs to play. That's a guy I'd like to see have some fresher legs going into the playoff game.
And real quick.
Yeah.
Should he be Offensive Rookie of the Year? He leads all rookies in yards.
I mean.
And touchdowns.
It's tough because the beginning of the year was slow, and I do think there's value in finishing strong. Ted McMillan has been so much more consistent, and so I am inclined to reward that. But I don't think it would be out of place. I don't think if I was voting, I'm trying to be objective, right? I would give it to Ted McMillan. But if Travion Henderson won it, I wouldn't be sitting here saying, "Oh, he didn't deserve that."
Yeah.
So it's a down year for rookies as a whole. That's part of it too. But he should be in the they have guys in obviously MVP, Coach of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Diggs should be more in the Comeback Player of the Year conversation than he is.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't know why he's not. So they should have somebody in all those conversations. We'll see if they can put the cap on any of that today. And again, Pats need a win to secure at least the 2 seed. A win in a Broncos loss gets them the 1 seed. If they lose, they need the Jaguars to lose. Otherwise, they fall to the 3 seed. That's what's at stake today. And then we'll find out who they play in the playoffs, when they play in the playoffs. Next time we have a show, they might have already played a playoff game. If they have a Saturday game, which is kind of crazy to think about. So a lot's going to change here in the next 24 hours in the next week.
I didn't even think about that.
We'll keep you posted if you missed any of this show. Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff, wherever you get your podcast. Matt Dolph and I will also have the Patriots Hub podcast tonight. So we will have some reaction on the YouTube page in the podcast sphere to react to the Patriots' first round opponent. You can find that on 98.5thesportshub.com, wherever you get your